Hello there, curious minds and thoughtful seekers. Have you ever wondered what truly reveals someone's character? I'm not talking about their social media persona or the polished mask they wear at work. No, I mean the real, unfiltered self, the one that quietly shines through in their smallest actions and unguarded moments. Think about it. Wouldn't it be incredible to instantly know someone's true nature? To recognize their intentions, virtues, or perhaps even their flaws without needing years of observation? Well, you're in for a treat. Today, we're diving into 5 timeless and transformative signs that can reveal the essence of a person's character in ways you've probably never considered. Drawing from the profound wisdom of Stoic philosophy and Buddhism, this isn't just a shallow personality test or quick hack. These insights are rooted in centuries of teachings, from Marcus Aurelius to Epictetus, from the Buddha to modern mindfulness. They challenge us not just to assess others, but to reflect on ourselves too. After all, as Stoics remind us, we cannot judge others without first examining our own nature. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let's rethink how we understand the people around us and ourselves. And hey, if you find these ideas eye-opening, don't forget to drop a comment and share your thoughts. Trust me, this conversation only gets richer with your input. Ready to uncover the truth? Let's get started. Sign 1. How they treat those who can't help them. One of the most telling signs of a person's true nature lies in how they treat individuals who cannot offer them any help or advantage. It's easy to be kind to a boss, a friend, or someone with influence over our lives. But how someone interacts with a waiter, a janitor, or a stranger struggling on the street provides a clearer view of their character. In these moments, there's no external reward, just an unfiltered reflection of their values. Both Stoic philosophy and Buddhism emphasize this point. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the great Stoics, once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This advice resonates deeply with the Buddhist concept of compassion, karuna, which calls for a genuine, selfless care for all beings, regardless of their status or ability to reciprocate. When we observe someone's behavior toward those who can't help them, we're witnessing their raw priorities and emotional makeup. A person who thanks a service worker, acknowledges a delivery driver, or smiles at a stranger demonstrates humility and an understanding of shared humanity. In contrast, someone who dismisses or disrespects these individuals reveals a lack of empathy and an inflated sense of self. This is a powerful lens through which to gauge someone's true character. Stoicism teaches us that virtue lies in action, not appearances. Epictetus warned against performative kindness, urging us to live in alignment with our principles, not to impress others. True goodness doesn't depend on an audience. It flourishes in the small, unnoticed moments of everyday life. Similarly, Buddhism emphasizes that every interaction, no matter how mundane, contributes to the web of interconnectedness that binds all beings. Acts of kindness toward those who cannot help us remind us that compassion is not about transaction, but about recognizing the inherent value in every life. Reflect for a moment. When was the last time you noticed someone treating a service worker or stranger with kindness? How did it make you feel? Now think about those who did the opposite, rushing past a struggling elderly person, ignoring the efforts of a cleaner, or snapping at a cashier. Their actions, though seemingly trivial, often reveal their deeper priorities and emotional discipline. In the framework of Stoic philosophy, these behaviors also serve as tests of self-mastery. A Stoic would argue that losing patience or showing rudeness to someone without power stems from a lack of control over one's emotions. Meanwhile, Buddhism would view such actions as a failure to honor the principle of interconnectedness. Both perspectives agree. How we treat others, especially those who cannot help us, mirrors our own inner state. Understanding this sign doesn't just help us evaluate others, it also challenges us to reflect on our own behavior. How do you treat those who hold no influence over your life? Are you quick to show gratitude and respect, or do you let your frustrations spill over into your interactions with them? These everyday moments, whether we're aware of it or not, are where our true nature reveals itself. In summary, the way someone treats those who can't help them is a window into their soul. This behavior, rooted in both Stoic philosophy and Buddhist teachings, highlights their capacity for empathy, self-control, and understanding of shared humanity. So next time you're observing someone or even reflecting on your own actions, pay attention to this sign. It's a quiet yet powerful measure of true character. Sign 2. How they handle minor inconveniences. Let's not sugarcoat this. How someone handles minor inconveniences says everything about their character. These small, pesky disruptions, spilled coffee, slow Wi-Fi, or a traffic jam, are life's way of asking, what are you really made of? And guess what? You can't fake your way through it. While anyone can play the role of a saint during life's big moments, it's in these seemingly insignificant annoyances that your true self comes spilling out like, well, that coffee you just knocked over. Stoicism has been blunt about this for centuries. Marcus Aurelius didn't become a philosophical icon by whining about the small stuff. His words echo sharply. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. If slow traffic makes someone lose their cool or a misdelivered sandwich ruins their day, what does that say about their inner strength? Spoiler alert, not much. These are the people who, instead of adapting, explode. And what's worse, they often think their overreaction is justified. Buddhism takes a similarly piercing view. The Buddha taught that suffering doesn't come from the situation, it comes from our attachment to the situation. Imagine someone in a checkout line that's taking too long. Do they sigh audibly, roll their eyes, and fume? Or do they take a deep breath and embrace the moment as fleeting and insignificant? The former tells you they're a slave to their expectations. The latter tells you they've mastered the art of letting go. Handling minor inconveniences is not just about patience, it's about maturity. Here's the thing. Minor inconveniences aren't minor at all when it comes to revealing someone's nature. They expose cracks in the facade. These are the moments when people stop performing and start reacting. Think about someone throwing a tantrum over a late coffee order. Sure, they may dress well, speak eloquently, and appear polished, but their inability to manage a trivial delay betrays the chaos within. And let's be honest, watching someone unravel over something so small is equal parts cringeworthy and enlightening. If you're still wondering why handling minor inconveniences is such a big deal, let's get real. Life isn't just a series of grand, defining moments. It's made up of mundane, everyday challenges. The person who can laugh off a spilled drink, take a deep breath during a traffic jam, or graciously accept a mistake made by a waiter, that's the person who understands what really matters. On the other hand, the one who throws a fit over slow service, they're showing you, loud and clear, that their peace is as fragile as a house of cards. So next time you witness someone lose their temper over a small mishap, ask yourself, if they can't handle a wrong coffee order, how will they handle something that really matters? And if this strikes a nerve with you personally, maybe it's time to ask a tougher question. How do you react when life doesn't go your way? Because here's the brutal truth. How you handle minor inconveniences isn't just a reflection of your character. It's a warning sign to everyone around you. Will you let the little things break you, or will you rise above them? The choice is yours. But remember, people are watching, and more importantly, you should be watching yourself. Sign 3. How they value time and commitments. Time is the one resource we all share equally. Rich or poor, powerful or powerless, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. Yet, how someone values time and commitments is one of the clearest indicators of their true nature. Do they treat time as a precious resource or waste it without a second thought? Do they honor their commitments, or do they let excuses pile up like dirty laundry? These questions matter because the way a person handles time speaks volumes about their priorities, discipline, and respect for others. Both Stoicism and Buddhism are ruthless in their assessment of time. Marcus Aurelius, with his unflinching wisdom, asked, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." In other words, time is fleeting, and your use of it reveals whether you truly value life. Buddhism echoes this sentiment with its teachings on impermanence. Everything is temporary, including the minutes slipping through your fingers. Yet, some people squander time like it's an infinite commodity, failing to realize they're depleting the most precious asset they'll ever own. Let's talk about commitments. Have you ever dealt with someone who promises the world but can't even deliver the basics? Maybe they say, "I'll be there at 6," and they waltz in at 6:30 without an apology, acting like you should be grateful they showed up at all. This isn't just tardiness, it's a lack of respect. When someone consistently breaks commitments, they're telling you that their time is more valuable than yours, that your plans don't matter. Both Stoicism and Buddhism would call this out for what it is: selfishness wrapped in the guise of carelessness. Stoicism emphasizes the discipline required to honor time and commitments. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." If someone values their time but disregards yours, they aren't embodying anything except their own arrogance. Similarly, Buddhism stresses mindfulness and respect for interconnectedness. If you're constantly late or unreliable, you're disrupting the balance and harmony of those around you. Being dependable isn't just a social courtesy, it's a reflection of your inner integrity. Now let's address the big lie people tell themselves. It's just a little late, or I'll get to it tomorrow. No, it's not just a little late, it's a breach of trust. No, you won't get to it tomorrow if you didn't care enough to prioritize it today. Procrastination and broken promises are like termites. They eat away at relationships, credibility, and even your own self-respect. If you're reading this and feeling attacked, good. Because how someone values time and commitments isn't just a measure of their character, it's a mirror to your own. Do you show up when you say you will? Do you complete tasks you agreed to? Or do you let them slide, assuming others will understand? Time waits for no one, and every broken promise is a missed opportunity to show respect, discipline, and care. So the next time someone flakes on a meeting or breezes past a deadline, pay attention. How they value time and commitments isn't just about a calendar or a clock. It's about their priorities and their principles. And if you're the one making excuses, remember this: life is short, and how you use your time is how you define your legacy. Choose wisely. Sign 4. How they act when no one is watching. It's easy to act virtuous when there's an audience. A smile here, a kind word there, maybe even a generous donation. When people are watching, it's all part of the show. But what happens when the curtain falls and no one is around to witness? That's where the truth comes out. How someone behaves when they believe no one is watching reveals more about their true nature than any speech, Instagram post, or public gesture ever could. Both Stoicism and Buddhism are brutally clear on this. Stoic philosopher Epictetus warned, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." It's easy to explain or perform values for applause, but embodying them in solitude, that's the real test. Buddhism teaches the same principle. Karma isn't just built when others are looking. Every action, big or small, creates ripples in your own life and in the world around you, whether or not anyone notices. Now, let's be blunt. If someone acts selflessly only when there's an audience, they're not selfless. They're calculating. Imagine the person who helps a stranger across the street, making sure their good deed is captured on video. Are they genuinely kind, or just addicted to the dopamine hit of online validation? Compare that to someone who quietly picks up trash in the park or leaves a generous tip without needing a thank you or recognition. That's the kind of integrity you can't fake. Think about small, everyday moments that no one else sees. Do they return the shopping cart, even when it's inconvenient? Do they clean up after themselves in shared spaces? These aren't just mundane acts. They're windows into a person's values. The one who tidies up without being told shows responsibility and respect for others, while the one who leaves a mess because it's someone else's job reveals entitlement and laziness. Let's get even sharper. Honesty when no one is watching is perhaps the purest measure of character. If someone finds a wallet on the ground and keeps it instead of returning it, what does that say about their integrity? Sure, they might justify it with, "No one will know." But that's the point, you know? Both Stoicism and Buddhism emphasize that living a virtuous life isn't about external rewards. It's about aligning your actions with your principles, even when no one is there to applaud. In the workplace, how someone behaves when the boss isn't around is equally telling. Do they slack off, cut corners, or take credit for others' work? Or do they maintain their standards and treat their colleagues with respect regardless of supervision? The former group might thrive temporarily, but they build a reputation as unreliable and self-serving. The latter group earns trust and respect that lasts far longer than any fleeting gain. Here's the harsh truth. How you act when no one is watching is your real self. No filters, no audience, no excuses. Are you the kind of person who does the right thing only when it benefits you? Or do you live your values no matter the circumstances? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is your conscience calling you out. So watch closely. How people act in quiet moments when no one is watching is a direct reflection of their true character. And here's the kicker. This applies to you too. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with your choices. Are you living in alignment with your values, or are you just putting on a show for the crowd? Sign 5. How they handle power. Nothing tests a person's character more brutally than power. Give someone control, a leadership role, influence in a relationship, or even the smallest authority over others, and watch what they do. Power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. How someone handles power is the clearest window into their true nature. Do they uplift others with humility and empathy, or do they wield power like a hammer, crushing anyone in their way? Let's not sugarcoat it. The misuse of power is everywhere. From micromanaging bosses to manipulative friends, we've all seen it. You know the type. The manager who belittles employees in meetings to assert dominance, the friend who exploits secrets for leverage, or the romantic partner who controls with guilt and coercion. These are people who view power not as a responsibility, but as a weapon. Both Stoicism and Buddhism would call this out as a fundamental failure of character. The Stoics believed that true strength lies in mastering oneself, not others. Marcus Aurelius, arguably one of history's most powerful leaders, emphasized humility and self-control, writing, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." In other words, power doesn't give you a free pass to behave like a tyrant. It holds you to an even higher standard. Similarly, Buddhism teaches that power must be wielded with compassion and mindfulness. The Buddha warned against attachment to control, reminding us that grasping for power creates suffering for both the oppressor and the oppressed. But let's get specific. Watch closely the next time someone has even the smallest amount of authority. Maybe they're a shift supervisor or the organizer of a group project. Do they use their position to inspire and guide, or do they turn into a miniature dictator? Power amplifies what's already inside a person. A kind and secure individual will use power to support others, while an insecure and selfish person will use it to inflate their ego. Handling power isn't just about the big decisions. It's also in the small, subtle moments. Think about how someone treats subordinates or those with less influence. Do they listen, collaborate, and respect others' contributions? Or do they dismiss ideas, talk over people, and steal credit? If you're in the latter category and this is making you uncomfortable, good, it should. Because how you handle power reflects exactly who you are. Then there's the temptation of privilege. How does someone handle privileged information? Do they gossip, manipulate, or use it to their advantage? Or do they respect boundaries and maintain confidentiality? These seemingly minor choices expose the moral compass guiding a person's actions. Stoicism and Buddhism both agree that the ethical handling of power is a direct reflection of inner strength and integrity. The real challenge of power comes in moments of pressure. Imagine a leader faced with a tough decision. Do they listen to others, empathize with those affected, and act with fairness? Or do they react impulsively, prioritizing their comfort or ego over what's right? Compassion under pressure is the ultimate test of character. The strongest leaders, as both Stoicism and Buddhism teach, are those who act not for themselves, but for the collective good. So what does your handling of power say about you? If this question makes you squirm, take a hard look at yourself. Do you act with humility and fairness, or do you let the smallest amount of control go straight to your head? And if you're observing someone else, pay attention. How they handle power, whether great or small, isn't just a reflection of their true nature. It's a warning sign of what they'll do when given more. Power, in all its forms, isn't inherently bad. It's a tool. How someone wields it reveals whether they're driven by ego or guided by virtue. So the next time you witness someone in a position of power, look closely. Are they using it to build or to destroy? And just as importantly, what would you do in their place? So we've just walked through 5 critical signs that reveal a person's true nature. How they treat those who can't help them, how they handle minor inconveniences, how they value time and commitments, how they act when no one is watching, and finally, how they wield power. Each of these behaviors serves as a window into their core values, offering insights that words or appearances could never convey. But let's not stop there. These signs aren't just tools for observing others, they're also mirrors for self-reflection. How do you treat those who hold no influence over you? Do minor inconveniences send you into a spiral? Are you dependable with your time and commitments, honest when no one is looking, and ethical when in a position of power? As both Stoicism and Buddhism remind us, the path to wisdom starts within. Before you pass judgment on others, take a moment to assess your own actions. After all, the true measure of character isn't found in grand gestures, but in the small, consistent choices we make every single day. So I leave you with this challenge. Watch others, yes, but also watch yourself. Pay attention to the signs. They're not just warnings, they're opportunities to grow, to improve, and to live with greater integrity. And remember, it's never too late to rewrite your story.